So most of you have been to Boomers and you all know the little carts. It's the funnest activity to go on. Well, the ones I'm going to tell you about today can go up to 100 miles per hour just depending on the motor. And here's a picture of a go-kart. This is actually my brother. This is his go-kart. So I'll be telling you about just the basics of go-karting and how fast they go and what it takes to race and who races and the whole process of it. The basics of it is, of course, the tire. You have your helmet, your neck gear. It supports your neck, so if you crash, you don't break your neck. And also underneath their racing suit, they have a rib protector, and it's a little vest, and it protects their ribs, so if they crash, they don't break a rib. And obviously their suit, it's most of them are fire resistant, just in case something catches on fire, they're not burned. And then their racing shoes, they're kind of like wrestling shoes, they're just a lot thicker. And then the tracks, obviously this one is cement or blacktop, but they do sometimes race on dirt, or they have indoor tracks, but the main ones are cement, and these are the ones that they mainly race on for big races. And then the types of motors they have, there's 3 types of classes. They have a shifter, which is like a shift stick car, but it's a go-kart, and then a 4-cycle and a 2-cycle, and those are the 3 main classes that they run. And how you race, you're put into a class based on your age, your weight, and your weight of your cart, and the type of motor you have. So, for example, the ages run up from 5 years old to however old you want to be. There is a senior class, but a 5-year-old cannot race like a 30-year-old. You're in a specific class, and everything is based off your weight and the weight of your go-kart. So you get scaled before you race and after you race to make sure you're not cheating by adding weight or taking off weight. So that's who basically can race. Anyone can race, and we actually do have a track out here in Santa Maria. It's behind the airport, if some of you don't know that. And a lot of the big races they do are here, and then a lot of them are in Bakersfield as well, and then a lot of them they go out of the country to race. And so the next part I'm going to talk about is sponsors. These aren't just plain go-karts, as you can see. There's a lot of stickers. Sponsors is a really big part of racing, and it also makes it less expensive if you have a sponsor, and that's what kind of gets their brand out there. And if you're winning a lot of races, you get the more money you get and the more sponsors you get. There's a lot of positive and negatives about racing. Some positives are, of course, winning, getting to travel a lot, but there are negatives. I already talked about racing here. There are negatives like crashing. It is really dangerous. And the one main thing about go-karts is there's not seatbelts, so when you flip, you're obviously going out of the car, but the main thing why there's not seatbelts is you don't want to be stuck to something in the ground where you're going 70 miles per hour. You don't want to be tumbling 3 inches from the ground at 70 miles per hour. So it's a good thing to kind of eject yourself away from that. This one is obviously a lot dangerous because he's going on top of someone. This one he's kind of covering himself, but that's what all your gear is for, the rib protectors, your neck gear, so you are really safe. And I was going to bring in my brother's helmet, but he wouldn't let me take that. He also doesn't know I have his trophy. The next process I'm going to tell you about is exactly how they race. How they race is they qualify first, which is you qualify for a time, and that's the position at which you race. So then they have a heat, which is a practice run. They practice in which they qualify, and it's kind of, they're testing the waters to see how fast and, who they're going to be able to pass. And then finally the main event. The main event is everything. That's what they're trying to get. So everything leads up to the main event. And my brother's been doing this since he was, I want to say about 6, and so have my cousins, so they're really into racing. This is him again, and these are some of his trophies. My brother is actually a 6-time National Grand Championship, and this is one of his trophies, and it's really heavy if you guys want to pick it up. He doesn't know I have it, so you can't drop it. Also, when they race, they're scored. I've also worked at the scoring tower, and they're scored as they come around, and you just write down who passed. And so that's a lot about go-karting and the whole process. And a lot of people who race go-karts eventually move up to something bigger if they don't go kind of, not pro, but get a lot of money for this. They eventually work their way up to something like this. This is also my brother. He races at Santa Maria Speedway. And a lot of other people who race go-karts out of Santa Maria track behind the airport race at the Speedway now. And eventually they work their way up to NASCAR. One of my brother's best friends just went to NASCAR. So that's a little bit about go-karting and the process of how they race.